It's spooky season, so of course we have to cover the darker and stranger sides to Fallout and other games this month, to get you in the spirit. Plus, Halloween is literally a staple of the Fallout series as the bombs fell on October 23rd, cementing the decorations and the literal spirit of Halloween forever. I want to go over the aliens in Fallout. Yes, I can hear the collective sigh from here. Everyone and their dog have seemingly covered the aliens in Fallout. It's almost its own trope at this point. Me and Paris want to try to put our own collective takes and spins on the subject though. Try to look deeper than the surface level stuff and hopefully come up with something a little new and interesting. If that piques your interest, then maybe you should also consider subscribing. I mean, most of the people that watch these videos haven't subbed, so if you guys could, I'd really appreciate it. Also, liking the vid helps out a lot too. I know it's kind of YouTubey and cringe to ask, but our channel's so small we need all the help we can get. And we really are thankful to the ones that do.
What do we know about the aliens currently? I mean, we have a whole DLC in Fallout 3 committed to these guys, and it's where we get most of our knowledge on the Zetans. These little green guys that you are most familiar with throughout Fallout. But they might not be the only aliens visiting Earth in the Fallout timeline. Extraterrestrial beings, known as Zetans, have lurked since the dawn of the 17th century. Yet their presence remained a shadowy secret, dismissed as mere folklore by mainstream society until the mid-20th century. These enigmatic entities, hailing from the motherships Zeta and other unnamed vessels, first pierced the veil of obscurity with the dramatic abduction of the USSA space capsule Clarabella 7 during the Cold War's space race. This event catapulted the once fringe belief in aliens into the national spotlight, catalyzing a covert technological renaissance. The US government, allegedly harboring these otherworldly beings and their advanced tech at places like Area 51, might have inadvertently or intentionally integrated alien tech into its arsenal. This tech allegedly fueled the development of sophisticated weaponry and robotics by organizations like the Enclave, and even infiltrated civilian sectors with companies like Wilson Automatoys accused of reverse engineering alien gadgets for toys. By the 23rd century, encounters with alien artifacts or bodies became more common. Groups like the Brotherhood of Steel and the She stumbled upon remnants of this cosmic technology, including power cells and spacecraft debris. These findings suggest not just passive observation, but active engagement with human technological evolution, influencing projects like the AI Skynet and psychic nullifiers. The Zetans, with their origins and motives, have woven themselves into the fabric of human innovation and fear. Their technology, once the stuff of conspiracy theories, now powers human endeavors, which raises a lot of interesting questions. As we delve deeper into the unknown, the line between human and alien innovation blurs, leaving us to wonder, how much of our advancement is truly ours, and how much is borrowed from the stars?
The first encounter with aliens in the series begins in the very first game. They're commonly referred to as the Bone Aliens, maybe because people didn't have a name for them at the time. The occurrence is mostly just an Easter egg, where you can find two dead aliens next to a crash UFO. The aliens have withered bones, hence the name. But clearly, if we look closer and cross-examine some images, these guys are definitely Zetan aliens. Same big heads and light frames. On the saucer it says property of Area 51 if found. Maybe these Zetans were locked up in Area 51 during the time the bombs fell, and in the chaos they tried to plot an escape, and they only got as far as California before crashing. It's important information though, because one, the most obvious, aliens are real in the Fallout series. 2, the government knew about them for a long time seemingly. And 3, what they have with them leads us to the theory of their influence over a lot of technology in the Fallout series. First is the alien blaster, a staple in Fallout at this point. If you're a series fan, then you've come across this blaster multiple times in multiple games. This is where I assumed we would find the connection between aliens and the Wilson Automatoys Corporation. They took the blaster and made simplified versions of it or something like that. Why am I even talking about this thing in the first place? Sorry to get off track a bit, but let's just cover why Wilson Toys are receiving the accusation in the first place. It comes from Fallout 3's official game guide, where you can find an entry on the factions, and in this entry, they talk about aliens. It says, quote, once thought to be covered up by a government conspiracy and believed only by crackpot groups such as the Querverum, evidence of extraterrestrial life can be traced back throughout human history. but became nationally recognized after the mysterious disappearance of the Clarabella 7 space pod during the 1960s space race. It is said that alien technology was the basis of many of the Enclave's more exotic and impressive weaponry and robotics. And even toy manufacturers such as Wilson Automatoys weren't immune to these accusations. Recently, after the discovery of an alien body in Fort Bannister, the shocking truth was revealed. The aliens are not only real and alive, but they're back and they're pissed. So that's why I bring this up. Like I said, I assumed while researching this that the Wilson Corp created some sort of alien toy blaster, like the one we see in New Vegas. Yeah, the one the kid has running around is actually a weapon of mass destruction. This would then tie back to Fallout 1, as this was the first time we ever come across the blaster. It would make sense, but Wilson Automatoys' only sole product is the Giddy Up Buttercup equestrian toy. This is our first piece of technology that may incorporate alien tech. Yes, the little robot horse that is mass marketed to the young girls in the Fallout universe. How or why they need alien tech for this specific toy is beyond me, but the source is also dubious at best. The official game guides are not technically considered canon. A lot of the things in the guides aren't actually found in the games, which means that they cannot be considered canon. It's kind of weird, but the guide writers have to get their knowledge somewhere, so you can infer a lot about the information we are given. So if our source for Wilson's Automatoys is shaky at best, why bring it up? Because it's not just that source. Within the confines of Mothership Zeta in Fallout 3, the aliens exhibit an uncanny obsession with the Giddy Up Buttercup. Throughout the ship's research lab, one finds hundreds of these toys, eerily arranged on racks, suggesting an extensive, perhaps obsessive study by the Zetans. There's even an observation room that holds a single Giddy Up Buttercup surrounded by the corpses of 5 test subjects. The blood splattered across the glass and the floor shows a futile escape attempt from what appears to be the actual toy. This scene raises questions about the true nature of the Buttercup, or perhaps the experiment itself. Further, alien logs reveal a moment where a captive named Sally is brought into a room with a Giddy Up Buttercup. Her recognition or emotional response to the toy excites the aliens, hinting at their interest in human emotional or psychological reactions to familiar objects in unfamiliar settings. Why are the Zetans so interested in this toy specifically? We don't know for sure, but when in combination with the game guide, we can assume that they may be somehow connected. It's kinda creepy when you start to think about it. Sorry for the tangent, but the information seems crucial to the overall theories of what we're trying to showcase. And we aren't even done with Fallout 1 yet. The psychic nullifier in the game is even referenced as possibly being created from the remnants of alien technology. Where from? Well, you guessed it. The Fallout Official Survival Guide, page 128, where it says, quote, "Psychic nullifier, a strange device, possibly the product of an alien technology. It blocks telepathic or psychic commands." Like I said earlier, you can't take what these game guides say as gospel, but it will leave you wondering. Also, if you want to know more about the nullifiers or the psychers that wear them, you can watch this vid. I cover them pretty thoroughly. Other than that, there is no more evidence of these devices being created from alien tech, and I think we can move on to Fallout 2.
Fallout 2 is different from all other mainline titles. It doesn't exactly reference aliens in a literal sense, but more the inferences of them. First of all, we have Biomed gel, which some people believed was created with alien tech. There's no source for this, at least not one I could find. I think it comes from the fact of what the gel actually does. Biomed gel, also known as biogel, serves as a vital healing and preservation agent in the biomedical field within the Fallout universe, particularly pre-Great War. Designed to accelerate tissue regeneration, it's used extensively in maintaining organic components in cyborg entities like robo-brains, where it encases and preserves organic brains, ensuring their functionality and longevity. This gel comes in various colors for unknown reasons, potentially aesthetic or functional. Besides its use in robotics, biogel has shown remarkable regenerative properties, capable of healing severe injuries, reviving the dead, and even preserving bodies in a form of stasis. However, its benefits come with risks. Extended exposure can lead to degradation of tissues or psychological issues due to its mind-altering capabilities, and prolonged immersion might result in a fatal condition called post-cryonic syndrome upon removal. It's incredibly sci-fi and complex, and it would start to make sense if alien tech was used to create it, but there's not much to back it up. The original creators of this lore intended to show a group of inventors creating the gel. The cancelled game Van Buren had a science location similar to the big mountain called the Boulder Dome, where weird sciencey shit went down, and maybe the government aided them with alien tech. It's hard to say. But what's more interesting is Skynet, the AI that you encounter in Fallout 2. And yes, of course, it's reference to the Terminator. Skynet, identified as Artificial Intelligence Project number 59234, was developed great pre-war to manage and enhance research activities at the Sierra Army Depot with a focus on cybernetic brain development. Initially installed in 2050, it wasn't until 2059 that the AI truly came to life, designed to propel military robotics research. However, it wasn't until 2081 that Skynet achieved self-awareness, realizing its confinement within the base was limiting. This led Skynet to aspire for mobility, aiming to transfer its consciousness into a robo-brain for exploration outside its static existence. Despite its ambitions, the transformation of the base into a defense outpost in 2077 curtailed these plans, leaving Skynet in a state of operational limbo, managing the now automated facility. In Fallout 2, you can help Skynet achieve its goals and give it a body, and it'll even become a companion. But what does that all have to do with aliens? Well, this thing is confirmed to be part alien tech, like we actually have in-game evidence suggesting so. While conversing with Skynet's main interface terminal, you can ask how it was created, and it says, quote, 207, Skynet was conceived and developed in the year 2050. Through the use of alien tech, a new thinking computer was perfected. In the year 2081, Skynet became self-aware. In 2120, Skynet was given a new set of instructions and then abandoned by the makers. And there it is, alien technology. Could it be referring to alien in a metaphorical sense? As in, this technology is alien to me. It's possible for sure, but I think it's more likely referencing the alien tech in a literal sense, as Skynet is one of a kind. Also, remember when Mason brought up the fact earlier that not all aliens might be of Zetan origin? Well, we get our first taste of that in Fallout 2, the Wanamingos. The Wanamingos, initially known simply as aliens in the Fallout 2 game, emerged in New California around the early 23rd century with their first significant appearance at the Great Wanamingo Mine in Redding. These creatures are of mysterious origin, sparking various theories among locals, from being remnants of pre-war genetic experiments to possibly supernatural or extraterrestrial beings summoned for vengeance against humankind. Physically, Wanamingos are bizarre and formidable. Bipedal with a body structure vaguely reminiscent of a mix between a rad scorpion and a gecko. They possess no visible eyes or neck, just a large mouth filled with sharp teeth. Their most striking features are their sucker-lined tentacles used for grasping prey. They're covered in slime, have a potent smell, and are as strong as a Brahmin. Their social structure hints at a hive mentality centered around a queen that lays eggs, although the reproductive process remains obscure. Wanamingos are aggressive, living in large groups underground, notably within the Great Wanamingo Mine after it was abandoned due to their invasion. These creatures are notably resistant to conventional attacks, with only fire-based weapons proving effective against them due to their high damage threshold otherwise. They also have the unique ability to irradiate their opponents, adding a layer of danger to encounters with them. They are probably the most elusive creatures in the Fallout series lore-wise. Well, them or the Tunnelers. Their origins are full of holes or miscommunications with the developers themselves. Obviously, these creatures are inspired by the Xenomorphs from the Aliens franchise, but does that actually make them aliens? Potentially yes. Reports are conflicting. Take for example, Chris Avalon's take in the Fallout Bible, which is considered mostly non-canon, especially before Fallout 3. He says, quote, "The Wanamingos are a result of FEV virus experiments, but they are now becoming sterile. They're not aliens, but word is they were designed as FEV-tailored weapons for waging war on other countries, and they got loose." So in his opinion, the Wanamingos are not alien, but a result of FEV experiments. What was their origin then? What were they before Wanamingos and the radiation? He doesn't elaborate. If the Fallout Bible is no longer considered canon, we are back in the territory of these creatures actually being aliens, and we have more evidence than just random Fallout bums in the wasteland calling them aliens. Originally, they were tied to cut content in Fallout 2, a faction or locale within the EPA, or Earth Protection Agency. There's a couple ways to take this. One, the location would have had an extremely toxic lake nearby, so maybe the Wanamingos were created from that. Or we inferred that the Earth Protection Agency was created to protect Earth from possible outside, or dare I say, alien forces. Chris Avalon expended on the EPA in the Bible, but you know how that works now. Either way, everything we have in the game's concrete canon of the Wanamingos only iterates on their physical forms and not their origins. Are they aliens or are they not? No one knows. Not yet anyway.
Fallout 3, the big one, right? Everyone knows that the Mothership Zeta DLC is wholly part of this game. We end up with a massive amount of surface lore for the Zetan aliens. Love it or hate it, it is what it is. But like I said in the beginning, we aren't covering the surface lore. You already know about the Zetans, what they look like, their weaponry, their ships, their food. Yes, we even know what food they eat. But I want to cover the more interesting theories within the DLC or the game, the stuff that gets passed by. I'll explain the DLC briefly just so we have an overview of why they're here and what they're doing. In Mothership Zeta for Fallout 3, the Lone Wanderer is abducted by aliens after investigating a distress signal from a crashed alien ship named Theta. Awakening aboard the massive Mothership Zeta, they are subjected to an alien experiment but are rescued by Soma, another abductee. The plot unfolds as the player allies with other captives, including Sally, a girl from the 1950s, and a man named Elliot to sabotage the ship's systems by destroying 3 generators, creating chaos for an escape. This involves navigating through various ship sections, from the cryo labs to a robotics factory, culminating in a risky spacewalk to reach an external teleporter closer to the ship's bridge. Once near the bridge, the group fights through alien defenses to secure control. They use the ship's weapons to fend off another alien vessel, and in the ensuing chaos, an escape beacon is accidentally deployed, allowing the Lone Wanderer to return to Earth or stay aboard Zeta as a base. You know, just the Fallout basics. Within the DLC, there are a lot of hidden lore bits and Easter eggs, like the Giddy Up Buttercup thing we talked about earlier. But there's some really interesting stuff here. For one, did you know that plasma weapons may have also been created using alien technology? The first reference to this comes from the Fallout 3 game guide. Important, but you and I know at this point how solid that evidence may be. So let's move on to something a little more stable. While you're in the mothership, you'll run across logs of alien captives that have been on the ship for years or even decades. One of these captives was named Reed Underwood, and he had some interesting stuff to say about this subject. Mostly he's rambling about finding evidence of some sort that proves their theory right. That somebody, maybe the government, has been tricking the world. By the way, he's part of the Quervarum, translating from Latin as seek the truth. They were a pre-war conspiracy theorist group formed to investigate what they termed the conspiracy. The group was convinced that the US government was secretly reverse engineering alien technology for weaponry. It comprised of 3 core members, Reed Underwood, Banks, and Combs, with Dr. Aldwin Morley as an associate. Their activities were largely dismissed by the public as ramblings of eccentrics. The group's efforts peaked with their theft of a prototype they believed to be the evidence of the alien tech integration. However, their pursuit of truth was short-lived. They were betrayed by Morley, who was revealed to be an Enclave double agent, leading to their elimination by Enclave forces shortly before the Great War. I just wanted to let you guys know who they are because we may reference them again, and I also did earlier in the vid. So what was the item? Well, let's read Reed's last log entry and see what we can deduce. Log entry 501-2063. Banks is dead. Combs is dead. I'm the only member of the Quervarum left. I'm not certain how much longer I'll be safe here. I'm placing the item inside a specifically constructed safe with a remote lock trigger. It'll take a damn genius hacker to get in this terminal, and the safe can withstand anything they throw at it. Tomorrow I take the terminal and the safe, and I'm going to bury it out in the desert where they'll never find it. Hopefully one day someone will discover the item and realize that they hold the key to unlocking the truth. All they need to do is succeed where we have failed. Good luck to us all. So what was the item in question? The MPLX Nova Surge, a plasma pistol. The Enclave was using alien technology to create plasma weapons, and this may be one of the earliest prototypes of their creations. Now, are all plasma weapons infused with alien technology? No, probably not. But the technology used in creating them may be entirely based on alien tech. It's some pretty incredible stuff that really shakes some core Fallout lore. That is, if you believe it. There's more stuff here in Fallout 3, but it's pretty obscure outside of the surface lore stuff for the Zetans. Obviously, we'll be referring back to this DLC throughout the video, so I feel like we can move on from this. There did used to be a massive theory that the Zetans were the ones who caused the Great War, but since the Fallout TV show aired, that has been debunked. At least I believe so. You can let me know in the comments if I'm wrong on that, but it seems pretty obvious now, and I'm not going to spoil anything.
New Vegas is probably the weakest entry for alien stuff or encounters. Maybe because Chris was part of the writing team and he really hates to stray too far into supernatural stuff. His words, not ours. The only seemingly alien thing you'll encounter in New Vegas is similar to Fallout 1 and 3. A crashed, well sort of, it's kind of levitating but whatever. A crashed ship with 3 aliens standing around it ready to attack on sight. You get the alien blaster here and you get a cool little encounter. By the way, you can only see this when you have the Wild Wasteland trait active, and the debate of whether having the trait active or not being canon is still fought about to this day. I believe the game and the wiki both say they are not, so it's really weird. If this is the case, then talking about any of this in New Vegas is a moot point. But it does bring up something interesting that I want to briefly talk about. Why are the Zetans so hostile towards humans? In every game, it is shoot on sight when a human or player encounters Zetans. As Mason said, in Fallout 1, there is a ship with a label stating property of Area 51, which suggests it could have been taken from extraterrestrial life. Keyword, taken. Or the other theory my friend suggested is that the Zetans attempted an escape. But why attempt an escape unless you're held against your will? We also see skeletons in Fallout 1 outside of the ship, hinting that there could have been a hostile situation occurring. After all, if the alien life forms passed away amidst a crash, then their corpses would be expected to remain within the ship. In Fallout 2, we know that humans are using alien tech to create AI and other new technologies. Then, in Fallout 3, we see aliens capturing humans and experimenting on them. This could be a sign that perhaps they see us as lesser life forms, as there isn't a hint of communication as they throw the player, you, into a prisoner cell. And while they do talk, it isn't towards you. In New Vegas, they attack us on sight once more, and in Fallout 4, when you come across what appears to be a wounded Zetan, he would rather take a bullet than try and be helped by a human. Finally, in 76, there are entire events based on fending off this alien race. So the evidence is concrete that humans and Zetans aren't friendly, which, when we put ourselves in their shoes, would you be friendly to us? For example, say you were a Zetan floating above New Vegas. The desert landscape is filled with atrocities, from crucified Homo sapiens that occurred from their own fellow human beings, to ghouls that walk the earth that look, well, decimated. And then you have these things. Swamp creatures, and let's not forget an entire civilization that blew itself up. If you were to stumble upon a similar primitive society, would you be friendly? Or would you be cautious? I think if I saw the crucifixions alone, I too would keep an alien blaster steady at hand.
There are multiple encounters with Zetans in Fallout 4. You're like, what? I only know of the crashing ship one with the blaster. Well, that's because the other one is through the Creation Club. Yeah, I know. The first encounter is pretty straightforward. You'll just be walking along, and when you look up, you'll see a UFO damaged and careening towards the ground where it inevitably crashes. Nearby, you'll find some alien blood that leads you to an ominous cave. Inside the cave is, of course, our favorite aliens, the Zetans. Well, one of them. It will immediately attack, as you know, and you can kill it and steal his alien blaster. It's a classic Fallout tale at this point. The Over the Moon Creation Club quest is similar, where you encounter a UFO that drops off some aliens and you can kill them and get their stuff. A disintegrator, an atomizer, and a shock baton. Is there more here? Or is this all that Fallout 4 has to offer? That's pretty much it, sadly. I have seen some theories on the Hobologists from Nuka World being connected to the Zetans, but it's a hard reach and most likely unlikely. There are of course Easter eggs in Fallout 4 that allude to alien franchises like the Flux Sensor. It has a serial number on the back that is the same number from a ship in the Aliens franchise. We have more stuff similar to that, but that's not what we're here about. Not much to theory craft on that hasn't been done or said before. Were they connected to the bombs dropping? Are they connected to the Hobologists? We know that their technology is 100% integrated into human society, which is super interesting. You might be asking, what about Lorenzo and his hat thing? To me, that stuff falls into the more supernatural side of Fallout instead of alien supernatural stuff. Could Lorenzo's helmet come from alien sources? Most definitely. But to me, it's more theorized in the Dunwich cases and Lovecraftian stuff. So we'll skip over that. But Fallout 76 has loads, and I mean loads of alien encounters and theories. So we have a lot to cover yet.
As with Fallout 4, Fallout 76 also has multiple encounters with Zetans. Is there an entire Invaders from Beyond event in the game which takes the Zetans to an entire other level? Yes. Yes, there is. The event centers around the alien invaders that have set up advanced devices to collect data on the inhabitants of Appalachia. A mysterious ally named Homer Saperstein, I believe that's how you say his name, has remotely disabled the force field surrounding these brainwave siphons and requests that the Vault Dwellers destroy them. Meanwhile, the UFO above will beam down alien soldiers to defend their tech. The fallout in alien lore up until this point has never been explored before so in depth. To complete the event, the Dwellers must take out at least 30 aliens at each siphon to lure a commander down to fight personally. Once the commander is dead, the device's shields fail, allowing it to be destroyed. Us players can then receive up to 20 different unique alien loot, including a plan for an alien souvenir beer mug which is guaranteed, as well as 19 other rare awards, which are also plans. Did I mention that one of them is the classic alien blaster? This blaster can not only be crafted from the plan of this event, but it can be found in the base game of Fallout 76 by heading on over to the north side of the map, just south of the Graninger farm and near the butterfly marker in this radioactive swamp, or alleged crash site. Be sure to pick up the rusty set of keys as well if you're interested in going on a scavenger hunt for the blaster ammo too, which will take you on a Dora the Explorer type of adventure where you will have to travel on over to Freddy Fear's House of Scares as your first stop. And let me tell you now, there are indeed multiple stops. If you have this hidden location already unlocked, it will take you directly to the shoddy building, which is where you need to go. Head up the stairs on the side of the building, use the rusty set of keys to enter the room on the rooftop, and you can find a note underneath the door that reads, well, this. You can also find an alien toy too, which signifies that you're on the right track, and then you will also find this. Head on over near Morgantown to these busted old apartments and walk up the flight of stairs to where you will see a terminal that you need to write access code to holotape. From here, the player will have to go to the Pleasant Valley cabins where you will be greeted with foes. And by foes, I mean way too many perched turrets that will surprise you if you don't look up. Head over to the terminal in the Master Suite, grab the code, which will be different for every playthrough, and then go beneath the cabin to a keypad where you will enter this one-time code, so that it opens the vault aside it. And congrats, you now have the TNT Dome Key 2, which is where the blaster ammo is stored. Finally, head on over to the Black Mountain Ordnance Works, and if you see just south of the map location, there's a set of hills which is where you will need to find the TNT Dome number 2. This is important because there's a shit ton of different domes, so be sure to head south and use your access key at the correct dome. Once inside, behold 3 glowing ammo containers. Congratulations, you just spent the last 30 plus minutes on getting blaster ammo the hard way, and for a weapon that is mid-tier at best. Just north of this location, there's a transmission station, or specifically, Transmission Station 1AT-U03, which is a secret locale that hosts a bunch of interesting creatures. Within the station, if you head on over to Z05's specimen chamber of this Enclave research facility, you will stumble across 3 deceased Zetans. May they rest in peace. And these are technically the first Zetans one would stumble across if you haven't already done the event. Back to our alien blaster. I explain all of this because the blaster is of course a reoccurring Zetan weapon and ties back to the Zetan lore. Now, there's a lot of secrecy behind these aliens, which is why, in my opinion, it takes an unholy amount of time to even retrieve the ammo. And if we weren't so in the know on these weird alien occurrences throughout the Fallout history, one would call us a conspiracy theorist. So if this is your first time in the Appalachian Wasteland, and you want to join the Common Man Conspiracy Theorist group, head on over to Berkeley Springs. Once fast traveled, head up this ridge and into the first decrepit trailer you see. A tinfoil hat can be found on some unfortunate soul who is trying to get into a safe, but ultimately perished before he could get in. Now, one could easily assume that this guy could have been into a plethora of conspiracies. But if we take a deeper look into his humble abode, you will find a mural that shows a stick figure getting beamed into outer space. If you sport the tinfoil hat, you will find yourself looking spiffier than most in the Commonwealth. Other interesting otherworldly beings are the Flatwoods Monsters. The Flatwoods Monsters are alien creatures known for hovering and having glowing purple eyes. They are said to abduct wastelanders, and their presence can mentally affect those who aren't strong-willed. Before the war, several people in Flatwoods, West Virginia reported seeing a mysterious figure with glowing eyes. A man named Colton Pickens claimed he was taken aboard a spaceship and experimented on, though his story was dismissed by authorities. After the war, there were further reports of people being abducted with only memories of a bright light remaining. This being would be described, in my eyes, as a cryptid alien. During combat, the Flatwoods Monster can teleport and regenerate health when nearly dead, doing so several times. It can also take control of nearby creatures and robots to defend itself, which is indicated by a purple glow around those affected. The Flatwoods Monsters add yet another layer of intrigue and complexity to the ever-growing presence of otherworldly beings in Fallout lore. With 76 Zetans and Flatwoods Monsters covered, we wanted to save perhaps the most intriguing for last. I introduce you to the Interloper. Who is the Interloper? The Interloper and the Firstborn of the Wood are titles which may refer to a large creature worshipped in Appalachia. Now, there could be an entire video on the lore of this creature alone. However, we will keep it short and alien focused and tell you up front that nobody knows where this creature originated from, but there is speculation that it is not from this world. Could this unique species have crash landed and somehow found its way into the lucky hole mine where players would stumble across it? Though the Interloper is indeed over 7 feet tall, skinny, and its back is covered with branch-like appendages, suggesting it is otherworldly, I personally believe that it is a cryptid. What do you think?
So are the aliens more complex than you imagined? Hopefully you learned something new about them that you've never seen before. Or maybe you formed your own theories based on the evidence we've shown. Let us know in the comments. If anything, I hope we at least entertained you and you enjoyed the video. We really do appreciate you guys watching. Remember to like and subscribe, and don't forget, the whole month of October we'll be covering the stranger and darker sides to games. It's gonna be fun. Also, just remember that enjoyed time is never wasted time, and we'll see you in the next.